When Zion Williamson was first drafted, people were talking about him possibly being the next LeBron. His explosiveness and vertical was absolutely unreal for somebody at his size. Really, the only thing that could stop him was his own body not being able to hold up, and that's basically what happened when he got to the NBA. He did have a ton of great highlights and awesome games his first few seasons, but staying on the court was by far his biggest issue. When he was actually playing, he was extremely good and as dominant as he ever was, but the question over the past few years has remained, will he be playing? I mean, the man was a Rookie of the Year finalist after literally playing 24 total games. He was that good. But after multiple seasons of injuries and weight issues, Zion Williamson is finally getting back to where he was. He's in the 5th year of his NBA career and will be playing more games this season than he has in any other. He also looks to be in better shape now than he even did at the beginning of the season. There's been reports that he's lost over 25 pounds since the in-season tournament. I know you'd rather see him play in the tournament in shape, but hey, it's better late than never. We're finally seeing him consistently throwing down highlight level dunks again and just doing the things we've been waiting to see him do. He doesn't quite have the same bounce that he used to, but that's kind of expected coming off multiple foot and knee injuries. But as of recently, he's been legitimately dominating. He's been putting up solid numbers all season, but during this final stretch, he's been putting up his best numbers yet. Over his last 8 games at the time of me making this video, Zion has been averaging 26 points, over 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. And that's after being weighed down by a 4-point game in a blowout win over Miami. And with a bone contusion and Brandon Ingram's knee, you can expect those numbers to go up even more. It sucks that Ingram's gonna be out for a few weeks, but at the same time, thank God it was only a bone contusion, because at first I really thought it was an ACL or MCL type of injury. It also came at an absolutely terrible time, happening right before the playoffs, but at the same time it can get guys like Zion and CJ going beforehand. You can drop Ingram in at any point and he'll be just fine as long as he's healthy, and hopefully he is come playoff time. But in one of the Pelicans' most recent games against the Pistons, Zion was on another level. He finished the game with 36 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Not only that, he made 13 of his 14 shot attempts and knocked down 10 free throws. He was literally unstoppable in the paint, and that's been the case for him the entire season. Getting in front of Zion is like standing in front of a freight train. Yes, this game was against the Pistons, but there are multiple examples of him dominating like this throughout the season. He had a game against the 76ers where he finished with 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, along with 3 steals. Plus, he shot 11 for 12 from the field and also 11 for 12 from the free throw line. It was almost a perfect game in every aspect. He was finishing around the rim with ease no matter how many people were in the paint, and he was even making some extremely difficult passes look easy. And trust me, we'll get into that playmaking ability in a little bit. The final game I'll mention, even though he has had multiple notable games this season, is his game against the Timberwolves, who have one of, if not the best paint defenses in the league. Both Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert were both healthy in this game, but they couldn't stop Zion at all. He finished the game with 36 points, shooting 13 for 17. And just like the 2 previous games, he didn't have a single 3-point attempt and did all of his work in the paint. He was going right at Rudy and Karl-Anthony Towns. Some of his finishes in this game were actually incredible. Even while I'm editing this video, he just had another game against the Thunder where he had 29 points and 10 assists in a close loss. He genuinely might be playing the best basketball of his entire career so far. What he's been doing over the course of this season only seems to be getting better, and for the first time in his career, he will get a chance to show it in the playoffs. Let me also remind you that Zion is 6'6". It's not like he's 6'8" or 6'9" doing this. He's a modern day Charles Barkley. Even while not being in peak shape, he's still quicker than some of the guards that are in this league. Nobody as big as him should be able to move like that. It's actually crazy. This season, he's been taking a career low in threes per game, not like he was really taking that many in the first place, but now he's taking even less. He's been purely focusing on his game in the paint, because he really doesn't take very many mid-range shots either. He's strictly getting his buckets at the rim, and that's also why he's shooting almost 60% on the season as a small forward. Watching him back down defenders and drive down the lane is one of the most entertaining things to watch. And because it takes 5 guys in the paint to stop him from scoring, that leads right into his playmaking. Multiple people have to collapse on Zion. You can try and just leave him one-on-one with the defender, but it's not going to work more times than it does. That means those kick-out opportunities are there all day, and like you may have seen already, the passes he's making aren't just simple kickouts. He is straight up creating plays for his teammates. The Pelicans noticed this throughout the season and eventually just made Zion their main ball handler, which made sense for them because they don't really have a pure point guard on the team and they definitely don't have someone that draws as many defenders as Zion. Once he started essentially running the offense, it became a whole new game for him. He has set or tied his previous career high in assists 7 different times in this season alone, and the year isn't even over yet. He's had 16 games over 7 assists and 30 games over 5, which is literally half the games he's played. It's just another part of his game that has gotten a lot better since he was drafted, and it's really gotten to shine because of how the Pelicans are now using him. It's easy to hop on the trend making fun of his weight issues, but when he's actually bettering himself and playing well, I feel like the media should be just as loud. I get people being frustrated with him, and I understand a lot of the jokes were warranted, but at the same time I think it was taken a bit too far. I'm not making excuses for him either, and I understand he's a multi-millionaire with a job that requires him to stay in shape. But at the same time, he's always been a bigger dude, even when he was in high school. So combine that with the injuries he's been dealing with, I'm sure that's made the weight loss process even more difficult. We really have no idea. It also doesn't help when the casual basketball fan is watching Stephen A. Smith and he's screaming out stuff like this every chance he gets.
When he took a deep breath, his belly bounced. But you look like you showed up to the game having just ate a buffet. The buffet. Like you ate the damn table.
Like, although some of the things he says are true, he's getting paid millions to get views, not to be an actual analyst. Even JJ Redick said he can talk about Zion being the main ball handler for the Pelicans and it will get 54,000 views, but then when he calls out a coach, it gets tens of millions of engagements. A lot of basketball fans only show up for the drama, and there's a lot of drama surrounding Zion, to the point where he basically became known as the fat and lazy guy because that's all anybody on TV was saying about him. Which is also why I'm happy he's finally back to being in decent shape and actually on the court again. The Pelicans are currently sitting at the 4 seed with 44 wins, which is tied with the Clippers, but either way, as long as everyone stays healthy, they will be a top 6 seed. Which is a lot better than I think a lot of people were expecting, especially with the West being unbelievably stacked. There are 11 teams in the West contending for the playoffs right now, and the Pelicans are sitting in the top half. The Pelicans are top 10 in offensive and defensive rating as a team. They're easily one of the most underrated and slept on teams going into the playoffs. And if the playoffs started today, that Pelicans and Clippers matchup would be incredible. Either way, I just wanted to talk about Zion finally becoming what we all knew he could be when he was first drafted. But let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on Zion, and leave a like on the video, it really helps me out a lot. Also subscribe if you're new for more basketball videos just like this one.